Good morning, everyone. I have had some extreme technical difficulties, but I'm hoping that this works now. So good morning. I'm going to try to take you guys just through like a normal lesson to start off with, just for the first couple of days, get you guys back into a routine, and then give you guys some projects and things from that nature. Again, this is all optional. I hope this is just fun for you. Just get you back into a little bit of learning and some real life. Miss y'all. Hope you're doing okay. Let's go ahead and get started. So go ahead and pause this video for about 5 minutes. You can use a timer on your phone, a timer on your computer, a watch, whatever you need. But just go ahead and pause this video for 5 minutes. And then when you're complete, go ahead and click play. And we will begin. Okay, so now that you had time to work these out, I'm going to go ahead and try to write on this and explain at the same time. Please have some patience with me. This is going to be really, really interesting to try to figure out, a little bit different, especially because I don't have a normal audience to answer my questions. So remember, with an exponent, we have expand and we have evaluate for the expression. So you have a base and then you have an exponent. So my base is 4, my exponent is 5. So what this is saying is to do 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. And then I'm going to use my calculator, just to save you guys time so you don't see me working out all of these questions. But when we have 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, that should give me 1,024. Then we just do the same process for the rest of our exponents. So we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times 2 is 16. This is 8 times 8, which is 64. And then 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which gives me 100 here, times 10, which is 1,000, times 10, which is 10,000. If I get anything wrong, feel free to correct me, email me, text me, whatever you need to do. All right, so this says convert each fraction to a decimal and a percent. This is part of the year where most of us had trouble. So the first thing I always like to do is to simplify or reduce my fractions. So 9 over 3 is the same as 3 over 1. So as a decimal, remember that this is the whole number. So you have 3 divided by 1, which is 3. So it's just 3.0, or 3 and 0 tenths. And as a percent, remember percent means per 100. So I don't know if you guys can actually see that, per 100. So we're at 3 per 100 is 300. Oops. 300%. 4 over 5. Remember, fractions are just what type of problems? Division. I feel like Dora the Explorer asking questions with no response. But 4 over 5 is a division question. So we want to convert the fraction to a decimal. So we put 4 in the house divided by 5. And that gives me 8 tenths. So as a decimal, it's 8 tenths. Remember, this is 80 hundredths, which gives you 80%. Then we have this one, which is 10 over 2. Fractions are just division problems, so 10 divided by 2 is 5, which gives you 5.0, or 500%. Awesome. So this next part right here says convert the rate to a unit rate. Remember, a unit rate means per 1. Per 1. So we have 5 trays with 30 ice cubes. So we want to see how many ice cubes are in one tray. So I'm going to draw right down here. I have 30 ice cubes over 5 trays is equal to 1 tray. Divide by 5, and I get 6 cubes per 1 tray. So you can write 6 to 1 if you want to write it as a ratio. I'm going to go ahead and erase this line because I don't have a ton of space on this platform. The next one, 200 words in 10 minutes. So you want to find out how many words can you type in 1 minute. Again, unit rate is per 1. So you have 200 words over 10 minutes, which gives you 200 divided by 10, which is 20 words per 1 minute. 20 to 1. 95 customers in 5 days, which gives you 19 customers per 1 day. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to call me, text me, reach out at any time. Right here, order of operations. Remember, the order is PEMDAS. Please excuse my dab at school. Not a T, but an S. All right. So the first thing we do is our parentheses first. And inside the parentheses, we have an exponent. So we're going to do that. 4 to the power of 2 is not 8, but it is 16. So you do 20 minus 16, which is 4. Then you're going to rewrite the problem. 8 times 9 plus 29 and 25 hundredths. Do your multiplication next. 8 times 9 is 72. 72 plus 4 plus 29 and 25 hundredths. And then you get 76 plus 29 and 25 hundredths. And that gives you 105 25 hundredths. Hopefully you checked your work. Hopefully you're not just watching me and you're actually doing the work on some notebook paper, because you're not going to learn with me just doing everything for you. All right, so same thing here. We do subtract first, bring down the problem. Make sure you include the parentheses so you know what to do. Parentheses means to multiply. Next, we do our exponent, which is 25, because that is the E in PEMDAS. 60 divided by 2 times 3, which is 6. Oops, I messed up. What was I supposed to do first? I go left to right. So I do 60 divided by 2, which is 30. 30 times 3, which is 90. And then 90 times 25. Give me a second. That gives me 2,250. Cool. All right, so now we're going to do our mission statement, and I know that's really corny. You're probably rolling your eyes and laughing, but I don't know. I think it's important, and I don't know why it didn't show up here. I guess when I turn this into a PDF and upload it through this file, some of it doesn't show up. But repeat to yourself. I know it's corny. You're probably going to be blushing. Some of you guys are rolling your eyes. But repeat after me. I am somebody. I was somebody when I came here. And I'll be a better somebody when I leave, because I am the future. I am powerful. I am strong. I am loved. And today I'll be my best because I deserve it. So just remember the reason and the why and the heart and the mission behind why we do this. So like being your best means taking care of yourself, taking care of your soul, taking care of your mind, and just knowing like how important you are. So I know in this season of loneliness and this season of just being by ourselves and not having our classroom community, it can be really tough for some of you. I know it's tough for me, but speaking these words of affirmation of ourselves really gives us an opportunity to really just remember, like who we are to the core of who we are. All right, so for this week, we are going to explore a lot of different types of area, just like we would be if we were in school. We'll be doing area of a parallelogram, area of a triangle, area of a trapezoid, area of a composite figure. And on Friday, I'm going to give you guys a little fun project. You can do it if you want to. Remember, all of these lessons are completely optional. And I'm actually kind of excited about it. Have you guys send it to me, and maybe I'll display it online or get Dr. Hughes to share it, but it should be fun. But in order to do it, we have to lay the foundations for this week. All right, so we have the area of a parallelogram, and it's really, really easy. All it is, if you look at this formula right here, is area is equal to the base times height. So if you printed off my notes from my website, then this should help you. If you didn't, feel free to take a piece of notebook paper, computer paper, scratch paper, whatever, and just write area is equal to base times height. If you look at this picture right here, it shows us that formula right there. So the base times height, so the base is what it sits on. If you look, there's no numbers here. So how can you know it's 6 besides reading this little blurb? You can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the height is a line that is perpendicular to the base, which means straight up from the base, which gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So then you just do area is equal to 6 times 8, or area is equal to 6 times 8, just trying to review the different types of multiplication. And that gives you 48 units squared. Remember, it's to the power of 2 because it's units times units. Cool. Let's try these two together. So again, we always when we do geometry, we always want to have our formula written down for us. So we're going to write the area is equal to base times height. So here, my base is up top. That's okay. It doesn't change anything. We're just going to do A is equal to, and plug and chug. So 10, and it tells you the height here, times 5. Area is equal to 50 what? Remember, you must always have your units. Feet squared. Remember, it's squared because it's feet times feet. It's a 2D, two-dimensional object. All right. This one has 3 different numbers, which is how it can get really, really confusing. So we always, again, start with our formula. Area is equal to base times height. My base is 11, because that is what it's being sat on. 11 meters times, well, what's my height? Is it 8 or is it 7? Remember what I said earlier, height is a line that is perpendicular from the base, which is exactly what this is. It created a little triangle for you. We'll get into that with composite figures later. But the height would be actually 7 is 7 because this is the height. This is actually just a little bit of the distance of the side. So don't let it confuse you. So it's 77 meters squared. Cool. Hopefully I haven't lost you at this point. If you all want to make it more interesting tomorrow, we're going to do a little bit with trapezoids and triangles, I believe. Go ahead and give me a shout out, text me, or email me, and I can put your name into it, maybe a word problem or something. I know it's not a lot, but I don't have a ton to work with right now besides my voice. So what happens here if something is missing? So if you see that it's given me the area already, and then it gave me the height. Well, we learned before we left for this, massive break in quarantine that we know how to solve one-step equations. So it gave me area is equal to base times height. So if my area is equal to 48, we don't know my base, but we know that my height is 6. How do I isolate this variable? I'm going to rewrite it so I have a coefficient next to my 6 and b's look very similar to a variable. So if I have 48 is equal to 6b, how do I get that b by itself? Give you a second to think. You're right, I divide. Because remember, a coefficient next to a variable means to divide by, or it means to multiply. So the inverse operation is to divide by 6. Divide by 6, and so you get b is equal to 8. And if you plug that into the original formula, you would do 48 is equal to 6 times 8. And the reason why it's b is because b is the base. Go ahead and try, pause it for like 1 minute, and try this one. It gave you the height. You need to find the base based off of the area. Go ahead and try that for a second, and pause. Okay, now that you've had a moment to try it, I'm going to work it out for you. So check your work. Area is equal to 96. Area is equal to base times height. So 96 is equal to b times 8. Rewrite it with the coefficient next to a variable, 8b. And then you're going to divide both sides by 8 because you want to isolate that variable. Remember, you have to use inverse operations. So b is equal to 96 divided by 8, which is 12. So b is equal to 12. So all we did here was use this formula, plug in what we know. So plug and chug it out, and then use the inverse operations in order to solve. Cool. We are almost done. I know you're probably tired of hearing my voice. It's really strange for me to talk to nobody. It's very awkward for me. So I'm going to try to make this as short as possible so that you keep coming back each day. All right, so this is a kind of interesting question. It says, persevere with problems. If x is equal to 5, so if you look here, you got an x here. Oops. You have an x here, and I just blocked it out. Things are going well. You have an x there and an x to the parallelogram as well. So it says x is equal to 5 and y is less than x. Which figure has a greater area? Explain your reasoning. Well, we know for a rectangle that it's also length times width or base times height, same thing. So we know that x has to be equal to 5. And y has to be less than 5. Same thing with the parallelogram, where, try to draw that. Oh, it's horrible, but you know, doing what we can. This is 5, and y has to be less than 5. Take a second to think, which one would have a larger area and y? Think about the formulas. So area is equal to length times width, and area is equal to base times height. Go ahead and pause this video, take a second to think about it, and then we'll come back with an explanation. All right, so using geometry, you know that the area of this rectangle would be 5y. Here, you know that, because this is saying 5 times the height, or times the width. Then on this one, it says base times height. Well, if you look at this, what do we remember from earlier? That the side is not the height of the parallelogram. This is the height. So because that's the height and that has to be less than 5, the explanation says that the area of the rectangle is 5y units, and the area of the parallelogram cannot be greater than 5y since y is less than 5, and the height of the parallelogram is not greater than y. So this height cannot be greater than this side. Therefore, the area of the rectangle is larger. Area of the rectangle is larger. Cool. So for this question, it says, do the rectangle and parallelogram below have the same area? Explain why or why not. Go ahead, pause this video, think about it, and then click unpause when you're ready for an explanation. Okay, so what do we know about the area of a rectangle? Remember from before, you can back the video up if you need to. Area is equal to, say it with me, length times width. Or you could write it as area is equal to length times width. Here, you know that area is equal to base times height. So we know that the area for this would have to be 15 times 8. And remember, I don't know if I said it earlier, but remember, area is the space inside of a shape. So we're finding all of that area, the space inside of a shape. Same thing here, the space inside the parallelogram. Okay, so we know that the base is 15, so area is equal to 15. And then what's the height? Is it 10 or is it 8? It is 8, so it's 15 times 8, which gives you 120 feet squared, and this is 120 feet squared. So if you said they do have the same area, you are correct. Congratulations. So that's it for today. Really short and sweet. It's a very easy lesson. I wanted to keep it kind of quick. One, to keep your attention, but two, if technology doesn't work, then I'll have a meltdown because I just spent 30 minutes of my life trying to work this out. But I'm proud of you guys. Again, if you need anything with your parent permission, you can reach out to me via text. My phone number is 770-855-2017. And you also can sign up for a one-on-one conference. Oh, there it is. So you can sign up for a one-on-one conference using the Sign Up Genius. I sent this via Everett's. And then I'm also going to text everybody's parents today, letting them know that it's available, just in case people's emails aren't accessible anymore. And yeah, I would love to hear from you guys. I've had conversations with about 10 students so far. It's been really good just to hear from you guys. The purpose of the conversation is I'm just going to ask you kind of a list of questions about your year, your experience in my class, and how I can be a better teacher for you moving forward if we go back to school, and if not, for my students next year. Cool. Love y'all a lot. Appreciate everything you do. Stay strong. If you need me, reach out.